What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
And today might have been the most emotional day I've had all season as a Browns fan. I don't know about you, buddy.
Yeah, you were on a roller coaster today, my friend.
Yeah.
I was good. I was trying to talk you out of it, but I was talking to a couple buddies during the game, and everybody was like, this is it. It's over. Browns suck. Same old Browns. And I was like, hold on. I'm like, I have faith. And in the end, we ended up coming through with a huge win in Baltimore.
Yes. So I'm going to read off a couple text messages I sent to old Austin here during the game. So at 3:51 p.m., I said, fuck this team. All they do is shit the bed, get our hopes up, and shit the bed some more.
At one point, mind you, he sends me a text that says, listen, I'm going to need you to take over for the first quarter, or I'm going to say something stupid on Twitter.
I was going to mention that, but it's all good. And then so I sent that message at 3:51, and then 11 minutes later, in all caps, I said to him, I just creamed. And then finally...
Was that in response to the pick six?
Yes, and then finally at 4:25, and again in all caps, I said, thank you, Jesus. So...
yeah, hell of a day if you're a Cleveland Browns fan. A hell of a day. Roller coaster of emotions, to say the least. Yeah, I got so into the game that in the fourth quarter, I decided to put on my Bernie Kosar signed full-size helmet for good luck. I remember you saying that. I was laughing. You texted me that as well. When you said that, I was laughing to myself. I'm like, hell yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I had my lucky brand new Cleveland Browns shirt that I wore. Every single time I've worn it so far, we're 3-0, so I'm going to keep wearing that thing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so it was a big day, but fuck it, man. We did it. We done beat the Ravens.
Yes, we did. And now we're in a hell of a position. We got to come out next week. We got to do the same to the Steelers, and then we are in the driver's seat to win the AFC North.
Yeah, this was probably our biggest game of the season in terms of like just playoff positioning and standings, because even though we're still technically behind Baltimore in the standings, this just puts us in a better spot because that gives Baltimore another loss in the division, gives us a win over them, so we split the series with them. And then if we can beat Pittsburgh next week and then beat Cincinnati at the end of the year, then we will likely have the best divisional record out of everybody, which is real big for tiebreaker situations. And plus, Baltimore is a short turnaround as they play the Bengals here upcoming Thursday Night Football. So it's going to be...
They have a tough schedule here the next 5 or so weeks, too. So they have some very, very tough games that they could end up coming on the short side in.
Yeah, so this is fucking awesome. Like, I was kind of going into this 2-game stretch, these 2 division games that, like, okay, be competitive with Baltimore, but you kind of expect to lose and then go and beat Pittsburgh, and then you'd be 6-4 and you'd be in an okay spot. But now we managed to beat Baltimore, which puts us already in a good spot, and then beating Pittsburgh would just add to it. So it's good, man. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, 6-3 is a damn good feeling, buddy. Getting back to 2-2 in our own division. If we can come out, get things done at home, which I think we can against Pittsburgh, but we can't have it be one of those scenarios where we had a big high this week and then we come down and then play down to the competition like we did kind of with the Colts.
Yeah, but goddamn,
even though we beat the Colts, but that was a fucking roller coaster of a game too. We were all up and down that entire game pretty much.
Yeah, what a tale of 2 halves this game was.
Yeah, especially on the offensive side for us.
Yeah, defensively was pretty consistent outside of like the first half of the first quarter, which I'll get into that when I get into my 3 negatives.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the first quarter was really about all that I was upset with the defense. After that, we were pretty good. We were playing Cleveland Browns defense from that second quarter on, I thought.
Yeah, no, for sure, we definitely were. But with that, do you want to go ahead and just get into our 3 positives?
Yeah, we can do that, buddy. Do you want to go first? You want me to take it away?
I will go first. It would make more sense. Do it. It would make more sense for me to do my negatives first based on 2 of the things that I have, but I'll just do the positive first. My first positive is second half Deshaun Watson. He in the first half he was 6 for 20 with an interception, obviously on that first play, and was not looking good. He was really having a hard time, was missing some throws. Had some crappy situations here and there. Granted, he was running for his life all day, which I'll get to that too later. But in the second half, this dude fucking went 14 for 14 a little over 100 yards. I forget the exact yardage in the second half, and the touchdown towards the end of the game.
Yards.
Yeah, and also had multiple like big runs on his leg with his legs, and was hurt. He was visibly injured. It looked like he tweaked his ankle, and he even in the post game he was walking with a walking boot. He said he'll be ready for next week, but just precautionary. So Deshaun Watson in that second half,
that last run pretty much sealed the game for us because he got to about the 40-yard line of the Ravens, and when he took off and ran that, I was like, oh damn, because it looked like they were about to take him down for a sack, and he got out of it. He shook that first defender and got around the edge and got about 12, 13 yards, which was huge.
Yeah, that second half Deshaun Watson is what we paid him $230 million for. If we can just get that on a much more consistent level, and why I'm very optimistic we can, because while hurt with his backup right tackle and then a backup left tackle off the street, who we just signed this week, and multiple other injuries around the team, he put the team on his back in the second half and went out there and fucking killed it against what people argue is at the very least a top 3 defense in the league. So that's very encouraging. And like I said, in the first half, I was very pissed. But yeah, in the second half, he came out and fucking balled.
I think he was pissed too, man. I mean, I don't know if you caught his entire post-game presser. I only caught a little snippet of it, but he kind of talked about that first interception, how it was very similar to the Steelers game. He said he looked at AVP on the sideline and was like, what the fuck? He's like, really? He's like, we did that again for a second time in a row against a huge divisional team?
Yeah, opening part of the game, you get a fucking pick six, which is like, it was such an awful way to start the game. I remember.
I didn't even see it at first when it happened. Like, he ran into the end zone, and I was like, he didn't catch that shit, did he? Because I couldn't really see the ball, and I was like, what the fudge? When I saw the replay, he jumped up in the air, batted it to himself, caught it, and ran it in, and I was like, of course. Like, only we would start a game like this.
Yeah, I saw
the damn game after one run. I think Ford got 5 yards in that first carry, and then, bam, right to freaking Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, I saw a tweet after that pick six that was like, loved that turnover-free football for one play.
Yeah, no kidding.
But no, yeah, as I'd say, I'm very happy with overall. I'm very happy with the second half with him and being able to bounce back from such a shitty first half.
Yeah, he was good, man. I'll get into my first point here. I had coaching in general, so I thought Stefanski and Swartz, good coaching, makes good adjustments at halftime, and I think for the first time in a long time on both sides of the ball, we have two guys that clearly came out, saw what we were doing in the first half, and we're like, okay, this simply isn't going to be enough to get it done. And they both changed up what they were doing a little bit and then coached a hell of a second half, I thought.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I thought Stefanski, he had some weird play calls early on, but he called a really good game. The
non-field goal kick at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that was weird.
Major problem I had.
Yeah, that was weird. But outside of that, he was really good. That really long extended touchdown drive in the third quarter was fucking excellent on his part. He just kept dialing up great plays. I think is really
the one that ended with the Kareem Hunt run, you mean?
Yeah, and I think is really honing in where to use these certain guys. He's using David Njoku a lot. He's setting up Amari Cooper for certain situations. Even Elijah Moore looked a lot better in this game, specifically again in the second half. Because it kind of looked like him and Watson were a little off at first, but after they went through the rough patches a bit, Elijah Moore was really nice in the second half, and then the run game was really solid too. They were dialing up all the different formations. I liked the one play. I forget what drive it was on, where it was just like a 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, and they were almost like in I forget if it was shotgun or if it was more like pistol, and they motioned Bryant underneath center and then motioned him back out into the backfield to kind of trick the defense and thinking it could have been a sneak with Bryant, and then it ended up being like a short run play that got the first down. Just little creative stuff like that. It's nice to see him dial that up and it be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good stuff. I thought he coached a hell of a game once again. I thought he was pretty conservative in that second half, but I honestly liked that because he didn't want to put the ball in harm's way. He didn't take a lot of deep shots, which we really didn't need to do the way Ford was running the ball. Hunt didn't have a ton of yards, but he helped bust the one in the end zone where he got that big run there. I think that was our first offensive touchdown, right? And then our only other offensive touchdown was the Deshaun rollout pass to Elijah Moore, if I remember right.
Yes.
But hell of a play call there. Like you said, Elijah Moore came through, played a big game. I thought Njoku was great again. Honestly, watching the game and then looking at the stat sheet, if you watched the game and didn't see the stats at all, it seemed like he had a bigger game than he did. But played another big role. I think he had 6 catches for about 60 yards. But I think it was pretty good all around. I mean, Tillman's still getting his footing. You can kind of tell that out there. I think
he did get a few targets.
He had a couple blocks where, like, Kareem Hunt got a big first down on one of them where he absolutely cracked a dude and laid him out.
He laid out Kyle Van Noy, and I remember Van Noy and him like kind of got into it afterwards. Because he
that was one at the beginning
of
the game too. But he was blocking on run plays very fucking well. Like, I was pretty impressed with his blocking. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was definitely nice to see the coaching adjustments. And the last thing I'll touch on that, because this will kind of lead into my second point, was Jim Schwartz with the adjustments he made in the second half. The one big thing I noticed is he started to blitz a good bit more in the second half, and I think that's what...
Yeah, I was surprised by that, to be honest with you. Like, he did it, I think, on 3rd and long, and I was kind of like, oh no. I'm like, he's going to give up this first down, and then thankfully we got home, because in that first quarter we were struggling to get any kind of pressure on Lamar.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that is finally what started to get some pressure on Lamar, and with that kind of point kind of rolls into my second positive. My second positive was the defensive line really come into play when we needed them to. In a game where it's close and we're down and out early and the defense struggled in the first quarter. The defensive line, like the front four and like whenever they were rushing 4 or 5 and when they were blitzing even some of the linebackers, they were fucking making Lamar Jackson's life not fun for majority of the rest of the game after that rough start. Myles Garrett finally had a big game against the Ravens with the 1.5 sacks. Zadarius Smith had a drive towards the end of the game where we got the stop to get the ball back to eventually go kick the game-winning field goal. He had a drive where it was like 3 plays in a row. He was disrupting something that they were doing, and it felt very Myles Garrett-esque, and you're like, hey, there's the guy we signed to help Myles, so that was nice.
He played a hell of a game, man. He was playing like a coked-up maniac on that edge out there. He was chasing him around. That very last play, I think, Zadarius actually almost had the sack. He finished with half a sack, but on that last drive, he almost had the sack, and
the
Myles
one where
came up and got him for the tackle.
He was really good.
Man. I mean, we say it every week, but Obo, again, he had the batted pass, which led to the pick 6, which was huge.
Yeah, they definitely were killing it late in the game, and you can kind of tell when they get into kind of a flow of things and they get into it. That front four is just I think they're better than anyone else in the league when they're really on. Because they have a bunch of different rotations of guys that can get in there, different sets they can run. If they want to, put 5 down linemen, get 3 edges and 2 interior guys. If it's a heavy set, you can bring in all 3 interior guys, with Dalvin Mohurst and Shelby Harris, and then they have like Myles and Zadarius. There's so many different sets you can run, and Jim Schwartz, I think, really has honed in on that in terms of just like knowing when to do what with certain guys, and they were just really good in the second half, and they were a big reason we were able to get some of those late stops.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance for them. The front four did great once again. I mean, those guys, as long as you can keep them fresh and you can keep rotating guys like you were just talking about, I think we're going to be pretty okay on the defensive end. We'll be in most games we play in if we continue to do that, I think.
Absolutely.
And going into my next positive, I just had a simple one. I said teamwork / performance. Gutsy, we didn't quit. As you had touched on in videos past, this could have been a game where the Browns just absolutely fell apart after being down 14-0, but we didn't. Kevin Stefanski in the locker room at the end of the game kind of said that to his guys as well. He's like, I'm proud of you guys for coming out here, sticking together. He's like, when things got tight, he's like, our locker room got tighter. He's like, that one play in particular, I think, kind of summed it up perfectly for us, where Ford had the first down run at the end of the game, and then just everybody, all the dog pound piled on the back of him and just pushed him forward for that first down. He got an extra 5 yards. So plays like that, you can tell this team want to go out and perform for each other.
No, definitely, and that's a big thing that I was also going to point out. It's not one of my separate points, but the fight that this team has and the resiliency that they have, that they've shown multiple times already over the season, I think that there just shows the complete difference in coaching now as opposed to, say, 5 years ago. Where
it gives them that confidence, and you can tell with Deshaun out there too. He gives those guys an extra boost.
Yeah, and I think, I think it really came together when they added Jim Schwartz and Bubba Ventrone to that locker room, because Bubba Ventrone, as our special teams coordinator, he played for the Browns. He's a former player and he's pretty young, and I've always been a fan of getting former players as coaches in your locker room. You got to at least get a couple of them, just because they can relate to the players on a locker room level, and that really helps with team morale. And then getting Joe Woods out of there and getting Jim Schwartz in there, who's just an experienced proven defensive coordinator, and you can tell the defense has all the respect in the world for him and will play hard as hell for him. And then I think with them adding to that took a little bit of stress off Kevin Stefanski, and I think with that Kevin was able to develop more confidence as a locker room leader and really get this group together. And you can tell this team like plays for each other like every minute of every game, no matter what.
Yeah, the guys do a good job of lifting each other up too. Even after that missed PAT from Dustin Hopkins, you could see Myles Garrett on the sideline kind of telling him, "It's okay, I got your back. We're gonna go out and get the ball back."
Yeah,
after what's his name, Proche or Proscheith, the kick returner we have now?
Oh, I think it's Proche.
Proche, yeah. After his muff punt, same thing on the sideline. They were kind of all consoling him. They were like, "Okay, it's going to be fine. One mistake, we're going to get the ball back, and we're going to go down and score." So,
yeah, that there is honestly when I thought it was over.
Yeah, I think we all did. We were kind of like, shit. Like, we had the momentum. They even touched on it on the announce team. They were like, Browns just came down, scored on a good drive, and then right away we just turned the ball over again.
Yeah,
I felt bad for him, though, because you could tell he was crushed on the sideline, even though the guys were telling him it's going to be okay. But he's like, damn. He's like, I really just muffed a fucking punt here.
Yeah, which, definitely a big mistake. He's only been here a few weeks, and, that can't happen. But,
right.
Again, like you said there, with the locker room morale these guys have together and how well they play as a team, and, the uplifting that they have. Like you said, even when Dustin Hopkins had missed that extra point that would have tied the game up, the entire defense went out there, and the entire defense damn near on the sideline was like telling him like, it's all good, you'll get another opportunity. And look what happens, he hits the game-winning field goal, and the entire team comes out and is jumping on him and is celebrating. So that's great for morale going forward. It's great for morale inside of the game and then itself, and then obviously the locker room.
Yes, sir. It's good stuff to see, because not every Cleveland team has had this. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, very little, especially Browns teams, have had that. So it's like you said, it's good to see. And with that, I'll get into my last point here. And my last one's kind of smaller of the three. I just wanted to give a nice shout out to Jerome Ford.
Yeah, buddy. That was my last point too, actually. So I'll kind of bounce back and forth with you.
Sounds good to me. Going in, over the last few weeks, we were really wanting to see Pierre Strong, and he didn't take a single snap, or he didn't take a single rush, I should say. And
he was out there on special teams mainly.
Which at first I'm kind of pissed, but the entire game, Jerome Ford was getting 4-yard chunks, 5-yard chunks, making something out of nothing. Not too many, negative runs. He looked like he kind of knew where he wanted to go with the ball a lot quicker when he got to it. He kind of had that explosiveness as soon as he got the ball, and he even broke off a couple nice runs. Ended up with 17 carries, 107 yards, which, you know what? If he's playing like that, I'm cool with that. Kareem Hunt still got his 10 carries, and they both were alternating in the pass game. I still would like to see Pierre Strong in there, but Ford, I think, this was his most well-rounded from beginning to end consistent game as the starting running back for the Browns, especially against such a damn good defense with a banged-up offensive line. He was still out there able to get over 100 yards rushing, and also in a game where we were throwing a lot.
20 carries, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good performance from him. The one run in particular where I think he was running right side and he had spun out of it and then stiff-armed a dude, made a couple guys miss. Very impressive run there. I did like how Stefanski at the end of the game kind of leaned on Hunt a little bit more, because when we needed those first downs, he handed him the ball and he's like, I'm going to give this ball to the guy that I know is just going to bowl through the line and try to get extra yardage.
Yeah, he's still trusting him in those short yardage situations where you just got to get tough yards and go in there and get down to get down and dirty inside the numbers and really lean into that offensive line, and it definitely shows.
You could tell he definitely wanted his guy in there that he's been with a couple years, and he didn't want to have any fumbles. I think that's the main thing there. You don't want to drop the ball on accident. So put in your most sure-handed running back to get a few yards and hold on to the ball. Last thing you need there is another turnover.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the run game as a whole was pretty solid. Again, against such a damn good defense that I was not expecting to be able to run at all. That was definitely nice to see, and that definitely made Deshaun's job a little bit easier, even though, he was out there being Superman in the second half.
Yeah, that run game helped him out a ton. I think it was able to help him find his groove a bit in that second half and kind of get things going. 14 of 14 is pretty damn impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't really feel like watching that game live. It didn't really feel like he went 14 for 14, but like it's one of those you look back and you're like, damn, I guess he did. You know what I mean?
He just kept making plays where he needed to. There was a good chunk that were some short passes, but then he also made some throws downfield that were just like, damn, okay, yeah, keep it going. And he was getting that momentum, like you said. I mean, like we were saying earlier, he started 6 for 20 and like had under 100 yards and like a pick, and it felt like it was going to be another Steelers game.
Ready to cut his ass for a bag of chips at that point, because all the people on Twitter were like, "Really? We paid fucking $230 million for this?" And I'm just like, "Everybody, calm down." I'm like, "It's only like the first quarter took damn near an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were about 40 minutes in, and the first quarter had about like 7 minutes left to play."
Right.
And I was like, "It's early, guys. Like, calm down. I get it's 14-0, but everybody's losing their fucking minds."
Yeah, and again, that shows resiliency on Deshaun and the team and the coaching, that they were able to come out in the second half and play the game they did. And, you know, can't be happier with a win there, and, you know, with the things that they did well, and, you know, it bodes well for the future, barring, you know, everyone getting healthy and whatnot. But
yeah, that was actually one of my negatives, so I'll kind of take it away with the negatives here. I had injuries as my first negative.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun, obviously, he left. He was in a boot at the end when he was talking to the press. Denzel Ward took a hit to the head. Have they said anything about his injury update status?
He cleared concussion protocol, but he was still ruled out with a neck injury, so we'll see how that goes. We probably won't know until we get into the week.
Yeah, which sucks. He keeps getting dinged up, which really fucking sucks because he's such a good cornerback. But he went down. Thornhill went down. I don't think any linemen went down again, thankfully. But
Grant
still,
went down
injuries
for a
all
little
over
bit
the
too.
place. Delpit, yeah, that's true. I was gonna say the secondary kind of struggled a bit on it. Like outside of Newsome, I thought Emerson and Thornhill kind of were poor today.
Yeah, it wasn't great, and obviously it sucks being as injured as they were, but
Yeah.
and that definitely attributes to it. But yeah, just overall the injuries just sucked because we're already so banged up. And that actually was my first point too, so I'll just bounce off of you. And you know, again, the defensive backfield getting hurt like that sucks. And it's unfortunate that it seems like every year Denzel Ward has these few games where he's just getting banged up and, you know, getting hurt, and, you know, we're missing time with him, which you don't.
It was such a dumb play where he got hit too. Like the play was basically over, and a guy just like ran in and speared the side of his damn helmet and like knocked him down. I'm like, what the fudge? Like there should have been a flag called there, but. Alas, I'm not going to get into the officiating because you know how pissed I was today during the game. I thought NFL officiating was absolutely fucking horrendous today.
Which it usually is, but
it is. But this was like egregiously bad. I mean, they gave the Ravens freaking like another chance after another chance. We stopped them 2 or 3 times on one play, and they kept giving them first downs. It was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, there was definitely some questionable calls. But to wrap up the injury point I was making, the last point I was going to make is especially the offensive line. You know, I was going to put them as one of my negatives, but I didn't, just because of the injuries. You know, it's really hard when you are already down your starting right tackle, and then your backup right tackle, who's been playing well, also gets hurt, and then your starting left tackle, who, say what you want about Jedrick, he's at least a starting caliber left tackle, he gets hurt. So now you have James Hudson, who has already had a hard time when he's played, when he's out there, and then you bring in Jaron Christian, I can't remember how to say his first name, to play left tackle. And like
I thought he was okay, actually. It was Hudson that was getting absolutely smoked play after play by the fucking ghost of Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, they both had their moments where they were having a hard time. But, you know, it is hard to be consistent in pass protection when your top 3 tackles are all missing, and your starting left tackle is a guy you just picked up not long ago at all. So, yeah, the injuries suck, and I really hope that we can get healthy. And, you know, down the stretch of the season is not when you want to keep being banged up, and we've been banged up all year. So just and Deshaun getting hurt too, like we were talking about. Just fucking Jesus, like just get healthy, and you know.
Yeah, man, that line was a makeshift bag of bones out there. I thought it was probably a little tougher on them too, as well. Like with us not having our speedster and Goodwin out there this week. I mean, Cooper's great. He's aging a little bit, though. I don't think he's slow or anything by any means, but when you have guys that aren't going to fly downfield, you generally have to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. So those 2 tackles had to kind of sit in there and hold up and keep that pressure off Deshaun for a little bit longer than they probably should have normally.
Yeah, for sure. So just hope we can get healthy and, you know, just keep the momentum going. But, yeah, injuries is definitely a big negative we both had on there. So I'll swing it back to you so you can get into your next one.
You got it, my friend. So I almost put special teams on here, but I didn't want to just because Hopkins was still great. He went 4 for 4 on field goals, but I did put the muffed punt on there and the missed PAT, which thankfully didn't do us in, but it very well could have ended the game for us at that point. With this Ravens game, it's kind of tough to come up with 3 negatives, to be honest with you, just because it's a game that nobody really picked the Browns to win. We both even didn't, being diehard Cleveland Browns fans. But coming into this game, we said there's a way we could win this game. But being down our 2 tackles and getting even more banged up in the secondary, if you came out of that third quarter, if you asked me if we had a chance of winning, I probably would have said no. Because we're down
definitely.
Delpit. Denzel Ward got knocked out of the game. Deshaun's limping around there. Even on the 2-point conversion, he ran up the middle, kind of limped off the field there, and we're all kind of wincing as Cleveland Browns fans going, damn, is he going to be able to finish the game out? Coming out of halftime, honestly, I think they said P.J. Walker was still warming up, so I was worried he was going to come in, and I was sighing there. I was like, oh, shit. Here we go again. But I just put the 2 on there, the missed PAT, which I don't think will happen any more times this season with Hopkins. He's pretty damn reliable.
Yeah.
That and then the muff punt. That kid, even on the play after that, I like him a lot, but even on the play after that where he got the fair catch and it bounced out of the end zone, it looked like he almost wanted to go and try to grab that ball. And I was like, brother, don't grab it. It's going out of the back of the end zone. Don't touch that ball and fucking give it back to the Ravens.
Yeah, I still vote we call up old Josh Cribbs and just have him fair catch everything.
Yeah, I think the kid's good. He showed a little potential last week, but you could definitely tell playing against a former team, he was kind of on the road. He was a little jittery there.
Yeah, he's quick and elusive and can make some stuff happen, but yeah, definitely don't want that stuff to happen.
Yeah, not against a divisional team. You got to come down with that ball. Even if you just fair catch it, which he did, you got to be able to hold on to it. We've seen way too many of those in our times as Browns fans of guys fair catching it and it hitting the tips of their fingers and falling straight to the other team.
Right. And, with that, I'll kind of get into my second point, which is kind of similar. I just put self-inflicted wounds. And this isn't specific to the defense because, spoiler, my last negative is the defense in that first quarter, but I'll get into that. It's specifically just with stupid shit that only happens in Cleveland, like first pass play tipped up, picked 6. Obviously, that's kind of a bang-bang play, and, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It just kind of sucks. Which is okay, whatever. Yeah. And then
we might need to rethink our first couple, pass plays of games, too, because, the Steelers game and then this, these teams are fucking choreographing what we're doing out here.
Right. So, yeah, like I said, that sucks, and that can't keep happening. And then, down the stretch, obviously some of the penalty calls sucked, but, you have the JOK holding in the back of the end zone, which was holding, and, that negated a stop.
I kind of told you I was pissed about that when it happened, but that definitely, if that had happened and the previous 2 penalties hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been angry because I agree that was a penalty. But I'm just coming off the other 2, I was like, fuck, damn it. I'm of course they're going to call this nonsense.
Right, yeah, and so, yeah, like I was saying, that holding in the back of the end zone on a play where we got to stop, it's okay, that sucks, and then
they called holding on Newsome, which was not even, I don't even think
that one
touched
sucked.
The guy.
Yeah, that one sucked, but either way. And then you have, we're down by 7, and then we get a stop, and then on the punt, fucking Prochet muffs the punt, and you're like, Jesus, okay, all that work for nothing. And then other just little shit, it happened multiple times. It felt like we'd be starting a drive, and then, here's a false start, 1st and 15. It's okay, you're not putting yourself in good position when you keep shooting yourself in the foot. And that still happens from time to time with this team. And, that definitely needs to get cleaned up. So not a super big point. And obviously we were able to come away with the win. And it's always good when you can win games where it's kind of sloppy, at least in terms of penalties and stupid mistakes. But I did just want to point that out for my second negative.
Yeah, thankfully, to be fair, too, with penalties on the defense, this was one of the very few games this year where Myles Garrett and some of the front 4 guys did not have any kind of offsides or any encroachment. I think there was 1 encroachment on the defense, but other than that, Myles has had a couple games now where he had 2, 3 offsides, and I'm like, dude, just stay. I understand you want to get to the quarterback, but it's kind of killing us here.
Yeah, so he's so good at jumping today. Yeah, he's so good at timing the snap that sometimes he'll get a little too antsy, and then he'll jump it a bit early, and then they catch him. So yeah, that's just a little bit of awareness, I'm
not going to talk any shit about Myles Garrett, though. That man's both of our fathers.
Yeah, he's my dad.
He is my dad. And I already touched on this a little bit ago, but I did think Martin Emerson Jr. kind of had a rough day out there on the touchdown run by the rookie running back. He took an absolutely atrocious angle to him. I don't know if you saw that play like live, but he was kind of right there to make the tackle, and he took a horrible angle to the ball carrier, and just guys zipped right past him for the touchdown.
Right.
He got beat pretty bad on a couple other routes. I thought he did good whenever he was in Mark Andrews' vicinity. Andrews only had 2 catches for about 44 yards, which was awesome.
Yeah, he might have been consistently more in that kind of role, but obviously with Denzel Ward being banged up, Greg Newsome already banged up, and other guys hurt, Cameron Mitchell's out, his role increases, and then, he definitely got exposed a couple times. He was struggling without
Ward out there because they have a couple speedsters. I mean, the Odell route, he was kind of all over the place, and then freaking Zay Flowers kind of put him in the blender a few times.
Zay Flowers
Thornhill as well. Thornhill made a couple bad plays where he was just taking shitty angles to the ball carrier, and I love both of these guys, but I thought they kind of had off games this week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely a bit of an off week from the secondary.
Yeah, but I have confidence. I mean, we both love Jim Schwartz, so going into next week, I have much more confidence against Kenny Pickett than I do Lamar Jackson, even though Lamar Jackson, not a great game again, really. He had about the same stats as Watson, but he had one more turnover. And he had about 230 yards passing. He had the 2 interceptions, the 1 touchdown. Didn't really run on us. He had 48 yards rushing, I believe it is here, and no touchdowns. So they did a very good job of bouncing back compared to the first time where dude came out, fucking torched us with his legs, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then 2 through the air. So I thought they had a hell of a bounce back week against him.
Yeah, definitely. So
even though they gave up 31 points, but 14 of those were on the defense.
Yeah, for sure, which sucks. And then that was your last negative, right? The secondary?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah. Like most of those were makeshift too, like I said. Like not a lot of negatives you can come up with really when a game, which this team could have been considered the best team in the NFL coming into this game, and there's not a lot of negatives. I'm going to say I'm not going to bash on anybody. You know what I mean? I thought Za'Darius came out. We've harped on him in the past. He had a great game. A couple guys could have played better, but at the end of the day, you came out, beat a good team on the road. I thought we played more physical than they did. We had a couple good hits on Lamar. We had the one where Miles had his half sack, and then I think it was might have been JOK came in, and they both landed on top of him.
Mike Ford creamed him on the sideline.
Yeah, was he the one that absolutely destroyed him on the sideline? Yeah, yes. A couple of those where I'm like, finally,
and then he immediately got the pick the next play after.
Yeah, I mean, it's a few plays like that where you can tell, like, after that, he kind of sat in the pocket a bit. Like, you don't want to take, if you're a quarterback that doesn't take hits like that normally, especially like Lamar is, he's a very elusive guy. You could tell that affects his psyche. He's kind of sitting there. He's like, damn, I just got cracked there. Do I want to do that again? And that was one of my keys to victory going into this week. Like, hit the guy hard a couple times. Weather's cold out there. It's windy. Take a couple of those hits. You're probably not going to want to do that again. So
yeah, I think my exact words on Twitter were, get Roman Reigns out there so he can spare him.
Then you tweet it again. You're like, somebody please hit stick this man.
Yeah, God. But no, I agree with you. And my last negative, again, it's a small sample size, but I did want to point it out, was, again, early defensive woes. Kind of almost the same thing that happened against Seattle. I don't think it was quite as bad because, obviously, a pick six, you can't really help.
Offense has got to put them in a better spot, obviously. You can't be down 7-0 40 seconds in.
Yeah, I just thought early on there was a couple mistakes defensively. I did feel like the front four was a little quiet in that first quarter, and that kind of helped Baltimore get down the field a bit, and they were able to score pretty quick on their next drive. After we stalled out on our first drive after the interception. So that kind of sucks, and you don't want to get yourself in a hole early. And then, like you said, just a couple small things. Like, of course, Odell Beckham's the one who breaks open a slant and misses and makes 2 guys miss and score.
That was a dime of a throw. That was probably his best throw of the night, too, because he put it right on the money. Not like a slant route, super hard to throw, but, I mean, he hit him right where it should have been, and he bolted right past the dude.
Yeah, and then both one big one, especially, but both of Mark Andrews' catches felt the same almost, where he just got wide open in the middle of the field. That second one
just pisses you off too, because we just went down, scored, and we had some momentum, and then he gashes us with a damn 30-yard run. You're like, shit, somebody hold this man.
Yeah, and then obviously Zay Flowers was killing us. I think that kid's just special.
Yeah, he's good, man. I mean, plus having your best corner gone too, the guy's going to get off a little bit more than he does when Denzel's going to be out there.
Yeah. And but that's all I really have to say, honestly, about the game. Obviously, tough start and some tough spots, but the team fought like hell. Deshaun Watson fucking went out there.
He's progressing.
He looked insane in that second half. If we can just reel him in and get him consistently looking like that, which I think he definitely can. Got another really tough defense next week against Pittsburgh, and you're hoping you can just take this momentum and get healthy and get a win at home against Pittsburgh, and then you're in a really good spot in the division.
Yeah, we will be very happy, boys, if they come out and beat Pittsburgh after just beating Baltimore.
Oh,
Did you happen to see my Twitter tirade last night, buddy?
No.
No, you didn't. I was kind of reading some comments. I was actually watching another Browns podcast, and I was reading some of the comments, and a couple guys were just absolutely going off. And let me see if I can pull up my Twitter here and read this off to you. But I was getting real fired up. I was just reading it and pissing myself off because these Ravens fans are absolutely fucking idiots.
Yeah, some...
One dude in particular I remember commented on every, like, there's probably like 50 comments on this one podcast video, and he commented on like each Browns fans thing, just like bashing the Browns. He's like, "Oh, it's gonna be we're gonna take you out to the watershed. It's gonna be 38-3." And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck. Like, channels like ours don't make videos for you. It clearly says in our bio, Cleveland Browns videos for Cleveland fans. You know what I mean? Like, we're not making videos for fucking Baltimore fans.
Yeah, and speaking of something like that, while you're searching for something specific, you said I've mentioned this to you before. We both have a buddy that we worked with, and then I have a buddy from school that are both Pittsburgh fans. So if I can work it out, I'd maybe like to get them on the show for our Browns Steelers preview. At least one of the two or both of them, so it's 2-on-2, so we could have a little bit of a opposing personality.
Just as a forewarning, you guys should know Ethan. If we get Ethan on here, I love him to death, but guy's an absolute goof. He'll draft all Pittsburgh players in fantasy knowing he's damn well going to lose every game.
Yeah, he said some
just
things.
Just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, he said some things such as Kenny Pickett MVP, and I just going to leave it there. And then I have another buddy, shout out Drake, who is also a Steelers fan. He's not delusional like Ethan is. Drake's kind of like us, where he'll just kind of like shit on his own team, but still still be happy when they win and stuff, obviously. But that'd be cool to get one of them two or both of them on, because that'll make probably a real fun and a real long pre-game preview of the Browns Steelers game. But I digress. Did you have something else you wanted to add?
I did. Yeah, I found the tweet from last night here. So this is one of 3 tweets here. I put the first one: Ravens fans are delusional. Reading comments on Browns videos, and these fucking wankers are running their traps about the Browns losing 38-3 tomorrow. I'm like, I've never seen a fan base talk as much shit for winning as many playoff games as the Browns have since the Lamar Jackson era. And then my next tweet says, goofy-ass Baltimore fans getting hostile on Cleveland content creators' videos, commenting constantly for no reason. Channels like ours don't make videos for you. It says right in our bio, don't be posting some dumb shit, because I promise Cleveland fans aren't as insecure as you are. And then my last tweet said, you can thank us for your bum-ass city even having a team in the first place. On a more positive note, let's go Brownies.
Jeez, you eviscerated them.
Dude, fucking some of these guys, absolute fucking idiots. Like, I'm just reading comments. These guys clearly know nothing about the Browns whatsoever. They're hyping up their team. I'm like, you act like we're not down a starting, like, the best running back in football, 2 starting tackles. Like, I just don't understand where these fucking people get off.
And we still got it done, baby.
Yeah, and we beat them. All Baltimore fans are real quiet on Twitter today, which Baltimore fans didn't exist till 20 fucking years ago, so.
Fuck them. That's what I say.
Yeah, fuck them. I actually hate Baltimore, buddy. My hate for Baltimore and Pittsburgh runs deep, but especially Baltimore. Fuck the Ravens and fuck Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a good way to end this episode right there. Fuck the Ravens and fuck Baltimore. Yeah. Fuck.
And if you're a Baltimore fan, keep your goofy ass out of our fucking comments, because nobody wants to hear about your fucking mid-team quarterback coming out here throwing for fucking 150 yards and 1 touchdown every other game.
Jesus, we're gonna have some beef in the comments. I'm excited for it. But,
probably. I think Lamar Jackson, being serious, I do think he's very good, but just fucking looking at the stats, like, the guys act like he's a fucking world beater, and like literally I think he has like 9 or 10. He might have 9 throwing touchdowns all season. He only had 1 today again. Like, I don't know, man. I don't get it.
Yeah, definitely beatable, and we showed that.
Talk
today.
A lot of crap for a team, like I said, that has won as many playoff games as we have in the Lamar Jackson era.
That is true. But with that, we hope you guys enjoyed our little rant there at the end, and then Austin's rant, I should say, and then our analysis on the game.
Don't act like you don't feel the same way.
Oh, I do. You kind of say the words for me, so I don't got to say anything. But
there you go, buddy.
Yeah,
we'll feel the same next week, because we hate some Pittsburgh Steelers too.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. But yeah, we appreciate you guys
Ugly
for listening.
Ass black and gold.
Yeah, God.
Not even gold. Like, why do they call it gold? It's an ugly ass like fire hydrant yellow color. Like, it's gold. Like, it's not the farthest thing from gold.
Yeah, it's gross. It's real gross, and hopefully we can.
Not pleasing to the eyes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, hopefully we can get a big win next week. And again, big win today. Went through some adversity, but really picked it up in the second half and beat the team that I argued could be the best team in the AFC with a few other teams as well. And I think we just put ourselves right in that conversation. So
yes, we did. AFC is wide open.
Oh yeah, and once again we appreciate you guys for listening. I know this one was a little bit longer because we had a lot to say, but.
Gotta hate on those divisional rivalries a bit. I mean, it's always Cleveland versus Baltimore, so you like the competition, you like the trash talk, and it's always a fun time when we play these divisional games.
Oh yeah, we got another one coming up.
Especially when we win, because we have the right to talk shit, and they don't.
Yeah, we've went through it enough, but
yeah, no kidding.
And once again, we appreciate you guys for listening. I feel like I've said that 70 times, but I'm gonna say it one more time. We appreciate it, you fuckers. And once again, it's been Cold Takes from the Land, and we will see you in the next one.
Cold Takes from the Land.